What's up, everyone? Trevor Sycamore welcoming you back to another episode of Mock the Mock. Thankfully, we don't have to roast my mock draft this week. Instead, we get Joe Marino's latest 2021 NFL mock draft as the topic of conversation. Joe had a pretty strong mock draft, as normally is the case, but there were a couple of picks that I did disagree with, starting with the Los Angeles Chargers at number 8. Joe has them taking Miami pass rusher Gregory Rousseau, who has a high ceiling as a pass rusher, but is far from their biggest area of need. I'm all for making strengths even stronger in some cases, but I feel like this pick has to be offensive line for the Chargers one way or the other. Whether it's an interior player or an offensive tackle, they have to find a way to upgrade that offensive line. We're only traveling one pick for our next selection, where Joe has the New England Patriots taking Penn State linebacker Micah Parsons. Now, again, incredible player, but for the Patriots in the top 10, I know the Patriots aren't really used to picking in the top 10 that often, and by not very often, I mean more than 20 years. Parsons would still be a productive player for the Patriots, but with Donta Hightower still playing at a high level last season and the current offensive depth chart looking something like a practice squad unit, I think this first pick for them has to be something on the offensive side of the ball. You got to get that offense a reliable go-to difference maker, especially in the passing game. Last but not least, let's talk about that Jaguars haul, where Joe has the Jags taking Penei Sewell and then Pat Freiermuth, which is a solid 1-2 punch. But for the Jaguars to have 2 first-round picks, one of them being in the top 3, and not come away with the quarterback, I don't know about that. Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields went 1 and 2 in this draft. So I have to think that if one of those two guys were there, they would have been the pick. But it's just hard to think that the Jags would be putting their franchise in a better spot for 2021 with no quarterback to invest in. Maybe Trey Lance isn't the preferred guy for Jacksonville, as Joe states in his explanation, but they can't go into next season with that same quarterback room. Joe made this tough on me. I really like this mock draft. If you haven't checked out all of the picks from round 1, you can do so over at thedraftnetwork.com and be on the lookout for rounds 2 and 3 later this week.